Okay. Well, whatever. All right. We like to sit on chairs. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. I thank you for being here. And I'm pleased to be joined uh, by several of our good friends, starting with Sasha. And Paul Morgan, the director of the Central New York SPCA, also joined by. That's all right. That's all right.
We tried.
I think this is exciting. Here.
It is. Sasha.
She can do this.
Sasha,
sit. Okay. Anyway, we've never had special canine assistant attorneys general, but if we had one, Sasha would make the grade. I'm pleased to be joined by a couple of people from my office, Jim Morrissey and Judy Malkin, who have done terrific work on the cases we're here to talk about today. And additional to Paul, we have some other folks who are officers and on the board of the Central New York SPCA, Carol Marsh, Nick Piro, Gene Madigan, and Harold Brown Jr., very distinguished public servants and an incredibly impressive group of people for this very impressive animal protection agency. We're also joined by representatives from the Q's Pit Crew, the Animal Alliance of Greater Syracuse, and Molly's Wish. And I think one of the things I want to say at the outset is one of the great things about the work you're doing here in Central New York is bringing together all of the advocates and activists in this area to work cooperatively. And we set up, for the first time in the history of the New York State Attorney General's Office, an Animal Protection Initiative. And I want to talk a little bit about that, but specifically today we're here to announce two legal actions through which we have shut down illegal pet dealers, one in Cleveland, New York, close to here, the other in Buffalo. Both sellers were what we call flippers. They were buying dogs on Craigslist or other places, or in some cases just getting the animals for free however they could, and then turning around and reselling them online for more than they paid. In order to be profitable, these flippers, these abusers of the animals, really, they had a business model that relied on spending very, very little money on care or food and on reselling the animals quickly, which led to a lot of abuse. Neither seller was licensed, and both sellers violated New York's laws in many, many ways. They violated the New York State's pet lemon law by selling dogs without proper medical care, documentation, or consumer disclosures. In both cases, their disregard for the law resulted in sick dogs. They sold puppies that were too young to be taken away from their mothers and sold at all, and preyed on unsuspecting consumers who ended up with animals that in many cases were ill, in one case actually died. So these are the kinds of cases that our Animal Protection Initiative was set up to deal with. Earlier this year, we announced its creation to kind of shut down unscrupulous pet sellers. We're also dealing with things like dog fighting, and these cases are good examples of what we're going to do, working collaboratively with our partners who in the SPCAs and others who are really already engaged on this issue, but have been doing so without the legal backup of any state agency until now. The first case that we're talking about today, the target was Carissa Seaman of Cleveland, New York. One of our lawyers discovered that she was both buying and selling dogs on Craigslist and Facebook, which is a good indication that someone is flipping. And we sent in an undercover investigator to determine that she was selling dogs in very, very poor condition. Dogs with patches of fur missing, lots of fleas, puppies that were too young to be weaned from their mothers. She was not providing the proper medical care because that would have cut into the profits of this operation, and really was selling to unsuspecting consumers. No proper documentation, none of the things that were required by law, no consumer disclosures, and she's been permanently barred from selling dogs or being a pet dealer as a result of our intervention. We also shut down another illegal dog reseller in Buffalo, Stephanie Arcara. She came to our attention after consumers who purchased puppies complained to the SPCA in Erie County, and our investigation found that she had sold dozens of puppies to unsuspecting consumers without any medical documentation or care, no disclosures, again, mostly over Craigslist. I would note that both of these cases are really cautionary tales, and the first lesson everyone should take away from this is please do not buy dogs from someone you don't know. Anonymous dealers on the internet is not the way to buy a dog. If you're adopting a dog, you're better off going to an SPCA. Sasha is available. And you'll know that the animal's been cared for, and you'll get the documentation that you're supposed to get. Our Cara misrepresented herself and the animals that she was selling. Like the Syracuse area seller, she failed to provide the required records. Many of the puppies, both of these flippers sold, were sick and neglected. One puppy died shortly after our Cara sold it. And after we received the complaints, we worked with other folks in law enforcement, including the Buffalo Police Department and Erie County. We found that the animals were kept in truly deplorable conditions. And the photo over there is of a bunch of puppies huddled together in conditions that no dog should ever have to experience. Anyone with any sense of decency would have been appalled by what we found at the residences of these two dog sellers. 16 dogs, including 3 adult dogs and 13 puppies, were confiscated, and the SPCA is seeing to it they're properly cared for. And like Seaman, our Cara has been permanently barred from selling dogs and has paid restitution. So the idea of the Animal Protection Initiative is that we're protecting the welfare of animals that cannot protect themselves, but we're also protecting New York families and consumers because pets are a multi-billion-dollar industry. More than half of New York households include at least one pet, and the average pet owner spends hundreds of dollars per year to care for them. We're coordinating the efforts of different offices around the state and different bureaus in our office through the Animal Protection Initiative, and we're going to make sure that all of our laws, which are pretty strict in New York, are enforced. And we really want to provide a backup to folks in SPCAs like the great one here in Central New York, who have been waging this battle without state support up until now. Consumers have to also protect themselves, and we know that you provide training, but we have some tips right here that Sasha's directing your attention to. Please deal with, the first test is, if someone doesn't have an address that you can go to, that's a problem. These people are selling dogs in the parking lots of Walmarts in these cases. That is a tip-off right away. Do not know where the pets come from, and prior to buying the puppy, they have to tell you where the dog came from. They have to tell you the breeder or the source of the dog. They have to provide you with veterinary records, and if they're not willing to follow these basic rules, then you shouldn't be buying dogs from them. You also should always have the date of birth of a puppy. Any legitimate dealer will be able to tell you that, and you'll know that it's more than 8 weeks, which is the legal requirement. Make sure that you check the puppy closely. A lot of folks who buy are well-intentioned but don't really know what to look for. And if the dog is actually supposed to be registered, just get proof. The most important step that people can use to protect yourselves is to make sure that you're dealing with a licensed pet dealer. They have licenses, they should display them, and you do have the right under our pet lemon law within 14 days of a sale to get a refund, exchange, or reimbursement of veterinary costs. Anyone who wants to open their home to a dog or cat should take these precautions, and really we're appealing to everyone, particularly as we get into this cold time of year. Please consider adopting rather than buying an animal. We have so many great shelter dogs and cats in need of good homes, and by adopting from an SPCA shelter, you can be sure you're getting an animal that is healthy. And with that, I'm going to take Sasha and turn this over to Paul Morgan. His team has been tremendously helpful in the Seaman case, and under our settlement, the SPCA is going to conduct inspections of the property to ensure full compliance. Very proud to be here working with the Central New York SPCA, and let me turn it over to Paul.
I'll be very brief. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions for our Attorney General. I just want to first start off by saying thank you for being here today. It's a very exciting moment for the SPCA, all our board members and staff. It's a great step in the right direction. The only thing that I'd like to state is animal cruelty has always been a huge problem in the Syracuse area. I've been doing this for 13 years, and I've seen many cases come across my desk, which we've been very successful with, and some we haven't. And I think the best thing we can do at this point is working together with agencies like the Attorney Generals and other law enforcement agencies to help reduce the overall problem in our area. Also, more importantly, adopting animals from shelters. You know, it's not just the CNY SPCA that's out there. We got the Humane Society. We have the Wanderers Rest, who's locally also. All these type of places have great animals that can be up for adoption, great ways to support these organizations and to do the right thing to stop these backdoor breeding going on. I think that's the only way we can reduce the amount of problems we are having in this area. And with that, again, thank you all for coming. Sasha here, we'll talk a little bit about her. Sasha's 4 years old, female pit bull. She's been here for, unfortunately, a whole year. And we're working on different ways to try to get her adopted. She's a wonderful dog. Unfortunately, her owner had to turn her in because of financial reasons. So as you can see, she's a wonderful dog, great with kids, other animals. So if you are interested, please, here's your opportunity. Or if you want any more information about the animals we have here, please ask. We have a lot of great animals up for adoption and ready to go home.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Great pleasure. Thank you.